Hey everybody, it's Allie, and welcome to our Y&R chat for Sunday, September 9th, 2012. So, after Ronan came up with his brilliant plan to give Phyllis an alibi for the night of Dr. Reed's death, Michael questions him about it. Says, I don't believe that you and Phyllis were having an affair. She's a newlywed. She just married Nick. So why don't you tell me what's up? Why you would lie for her? Why would you do this? And Ronan blurts out defensively, because I'm in love with her. I'm sorry, you guys. Ronan's in love with Phyllis. I accept that they had an affair. They had really hot sex. But that's all it ever was. They never went on a date. They never connected in any kind of emotional way. I think one time, Phyllis asked Ronan about his feelings for his family, and it was brief and interrupted. For the most part, their relationship did not exist outside of Ronan's dingy hotel room or once on the desk at the police office. And I'm supposed to believe that he is in love with her? What? I ask you, do these two characters, these two people, even know about each other? What do they even know about each other? Don't you have to know someone in order to be truly in love with them? Maybe you lust for her. I buy that, Ronan. You lust for her. But certainly, I cannot believe that you would destroy your career for a married woman who never loved you back. Okay, even if you love her, she has never loved you back. She has never given you any indication that she loves you back. She loves Nick. She's always and only loved Nick. I am annoyed with both Phyllis and Ronan right now. Phyllis refuses to take responsibility for her own actions in this situation, and she's going to let Ronan take the fall for something that she did? She's gonna let him lose his career for something that she did? I am so mad at both of them, but first I'm so mad at Ronan that he would even do that. Everything we know about Ronan's character is that he's all about his career, he's all by the book, and now all of a sudden, for Phyllis, he decides to throw it all away? They knew each other for a total of a couple of months. And I agree, the sex was really good. I enjoyed the sex scenes, but I never felt an emotional connection between them. We need to stop here a moment and make a distinction between lust and love, because they're totally different things. You cannot truly feel love for someone, in my opinion, that you don't know. He's gonna lose his job. He's gonna lose his job over all of this. It's gonna come out that he was sleeping, if he keeps with this lie, it's gonna come out that he was sleeping with the main suspect that he was investigating. Do you know how bad that looks for him? There's no way he's gonna be able to keep his job. Michael is gonna have to help him cover it up, or some other situation is going to have to arise where the whole thing doesn't go to trial in order for him to not lose his job, because otherwise he's going to get booted out of the FBI, which maybe is a good thing, I don't know, because what I want to see from Ronan is him making a connection with his family. I, at this point, don't even care about his romantic life. He needs to get back with Nina. We need to explore that relationship. We need to understand why he feels that he can't get close to her. We need to understand why he left town after taking Chance's liver. That is the important part of Ronan that we need to be seeing, not some pulled out of your butt romance with Phyllis that never existed in the first place. Even if you liked them, I'm sorry, it never existed. Love never existed between them. End Ronan rant. Begin Phyllis rant. Because what I think shocks me most of all was that Phyllis went along with Ronan's idea to give her an alibi. Sure, why not? Why not? Someone's there to help her. She goes along with it. But she really perpetuates the whole thing with Michael. Michael does the same thing he did with Ronan. He goes to Phyllis and he says, I don't believe you. You would never cheat on Nick. Why don't you just go ahead and tell me the truth? She refuses, so Michael forces her hand. And he says, if you had an affair with Ronan, then I insist that you have to tell Nick right now. Either you tell Nick or I will tell Nick. And Phyllis, without batting an eye, calls Nick up on the phone, tells him to come back home, and she tells him straight up, I was having an affair with Ronan. And I just wanted to let you know. I was so stunned during that scene that she would choose her safety over the safety of their family, over her relationship with Nick, over her family, you know, with her daughter. I cannot believe that Phyllis would blow up her entire universe, everything that she's worked so hard to get Nick, especially when things are going good. Well, I guess that's objective. But over this, like, I can't believe that she wouldn't have just called Nick and told him privately that the whole story, that it's a lie, that it was a lie for Michael's sake. I can't believe that she would not have just clued Nick in on the whole story from the beginning, which she did eventually. It didn't really even take that much for her to completely confess all. Nick didn't believe her. Nick is like, you're not having an affair with Ronan. I don't believe you. Why would you tell me this out of the blue? You don't do anything unless your hand is forced, which is true. So why don't you tell me exactly what's going on? And just like that, she spills the whole thing, tells about Dr. Reed, how he was, you know, blackmailing her, and Ronan gave her the alibi. She told Nick everything, which she should have done in the first place, which she should have done in the first place. My problem here with you, Phyllis, is that the original lie is so much less than all of the other lies that you had to tell in order to cover up the original lie. I am so over Phyllis right now, and frankly, I am losing any kind of desire for Nick and Phyllis to be together. I frankly have no desire to see Nick and Phyllis together at this point. There have been too many lies, too many affairs. I'm just over it. I'm over it, and I'm starting to turn on Phyllis. I hate to say that because I've always liked Phyllis and I want to support her, and I'm finding it very difficult to like her right now. If she lets Ronan go down for her mistake, How do you guys feel about this? Are you starting to turn on Phyllis? You guys have probably turned on Phyllis a long time ago. I'm just over her crap, and I don't understand how Nick cannot be over her by now. He decides to go along with the lie after she begs him. She begs him, says, please just go along with this lie. I need you to perpetuate it. It gives me an alibi. It gets me out of this deep, deep water. I need you to pretend. And he does what he always does. He turns around, walks out the door, says, I don't know if I can do that, Phyllis. And then 5 minutes later, he's on board. He decides that he's going to help her. And he shows up at the coffee house, talks to Michael, and decides to lie to Michael to protect Phyllis, pretending to be all upset that Phyllis was having this affair with Ronan. Then Ronan walks in the back door. Phyllis is there too. It's like Michael, Nick, and Phyllis and Ronan are all there. And Nick does what Nick does best. In order to perpetuate the lie, he hauls off and punches Ronan. Punches him right in his face, just which was a nice effect. So way to go. Way to really lay it on, Nick. Nick, you should be an actor. But the real cherry on top of that whole scene was after it was over, I think Ronan limps off to go nurse his wound, and I think Michael goes away, and there's this brief moment where Phyllis and Nick lock eyes. She realizes that he's decided to do this for her, and she just looks at him and she kind of mouths very lightly, "Thank you." Thank you for knocking out the guy who is putting his life, his career on the line for me. Thank you. I want to smack her. I really do. Phyllis would probably rip me to shreds. But I do want to smack her right now. That was so rude. Phyllis should be down on the floor kissing Ronan's butt. She should at least give him a little something, something for the effort. But he can't think that she's gonna leave Nick, or that she's gonna sleep with him again, or that she's ever gonna come back to him. Why is this even being pursued? Why bother? I think that for Nick's part, Nick is just trying to justify his actions. I think everybody in his life told him, don't get back involved with Phyllis, don't marry her again. Everybody told him that she is nothing but trouble. She is. She's been nothing but trouble for him in the last couple of years, and against everyone's advice, he decided to go back to her, and now I think he's staying with her so that he can justify that choice. I think Nick doesn't want to be wrong about Phyllis, so he's just going along with the whole game, and eventually Nick is going to stray. That's what Nick does. Phyllis screws up, Nick strays and has affairs. This is the nature of these characters, and sooner or later he is going to go looking for comfort from someone else. I can't help but notice that he is getting very chatty with Avery lately, and I wonder if within the next couple of weeks we're gonna see Nick going on back to Avery. Or somebody. It's certainly not going to be Sharon, though. At the ranch, Victoria is lying in wait to tell Sharon that she's taking her to court to question her mental stability. And there becomes this confrontation between Sharon and Victoria, and Sharon's little box of trinket trophies, stolen things, ends up getting knocked onto the floor, and Victoria finds those concert tickets that Sharon stole from Summer, amongst other things, and Sharon, of course, denies knowing anything about them, and Victoria really grabs onto that, and she wants to use it to further prove that Sharon is not stable. And I was kind of surprised that Victoria's lawyer even let her bring that up in court. They go to court to try to have Sharon removed from CEO of Newman Enterprises, and Victoria starts bringing it up about all of the things that Sharon has stolen, and in the end, the judge was like, do you have any proof? Can you prove that this was Sharon's? I thought in the end it just made Victoria look stupid. Why even bring it up? There's so many other things you could do and point out to show Sharon's instability besides that, but whatever, never mind. The little courtroom scene was very interesting because Nick ended up coming in to testify against Sharon. He's her ex-husband. He has seen the devolution. I don't even know if that's a word. The devolution of, I like it though, the devolution of Sharon, and he has to testify to that. And it was kind of a sad moment when Nick brought up Cassie's death. Nick actually said, I have noticed that Sharon has never really been the same since Cassie's death. And Sharon bounced right back and said, yeah, Nick, you're right. We lost a child. Of course I haven't been the same since. And while I was grieving, you were off having an affair. Dang, you know, I mean, I was with Sharon on that. It's weird how this works. I'm suddenly kind of on Sharon's side in some weird ways. I don't know. I guess because I'm just enjoying her badness lately. But I thought that was rude of Nick to bring that up. But anyway, the result of this court case was that the judge said, basically, I can't rule on this woman's sanity or insanity. They provided no evidence. They didn't bring any doctors in. They didn't bring any evidence for her old medical files or anything like that. So the judge had no choice. This is stupid too, I guess. But to force Sharon, well, not really force her, but give her the option of going in and getting a psychiatric evaluation. Either she goes in, gets this evaluation, or she does automatically become unseated. So now Sharon has to go back to Fairview, go back to the mental institution, and be evaluated and prove that she is sane. And in the meantime, Victoria is in charge of the company. So at least for 3 days, it's 72 hours, I think, that Sharon has to be evaluated. So for at least for 3 days, Newman Enterprises is safe. So everyone is, of course, curious to know what the outcome of this court battle is gonna be. Adam and Abby are standing outside of the courtroom, kind of bantering back and forth. I actually kind of enjoyed Adam and Abby this week going at each other a little bit. It's kind of too bad that they're half brother and sister, because I kind of feel like there's a little bit of chemistry there between those two, or there could be anyway. Frankly, I think there's more chemistry between Abby and Adam than there is between Chelsea and Adam. Oh, I said it. I'm surprised Tucker wasn't standing outside the courtroom with them, just with a glass and his ear up to the courtroom door, trying to figure out what was going on inside. There was a little moment, though, after the ruling had been given, where Adam goes into the courtroom to talk to Sharon. He tries to help her. You can't say that Adam's not trying to help her. He is reaching out. He says, don't go back to Fairview. Fairview's where the whole baby switch thing happened between her, with Adam, and that was a very, very dark period for her, and he says, just don't do it. It's not worth it. You don't really want this anyway. When Sharon bounces back and says, you don't know what I want, Adam, freaks out, leaves the courtroom, which made me sad, because I do feel like Sharon abandoned Adam, and then Adam abandoned Sharon right back, and there is kind of a sad story there. Sharon's whole life at this point is a sad story. She has not been able to make a relationship work with anyone, and she clearly needs a man, because she runs immediately to go see Tucker. And Adam had actually inquired about her relationship with Tucker. I think on her way out she said, and leave Tucker alone, which of course just makes Adam more curious. Of course! So Sharon goes to see Tucker. Adam practically follows her to go see Tucker. Adam's knocking at the door. I think he did it under the guise of being concerned about Sharon. He said, you know, I'm concerned about Sharon and I want to talk, although I'm sure he wanted to get a little light threatening in, or try to fish around and see what the situation with Tucker is. But guess what? As soon as Tucker opens up the door and Adam walks in, he gets an eyeful of Sharon walking out of Tucker's bedroom in her bra and lime green panties, and Adam sees that, and Sharon's kind of got like her breasts are kind of open there. They're kind of out in the open, and I think she might have even been in one of his shirts. I'm trying to remember. I remember the lime green panties. It's like, usually they have a matching bra and panty set. This was a black bra, I believe, green panties, and I think she had on a Tucker's black shirt, and of course she's standing there looking kind of sexy at Adam, saying, you know, it's, here I am, look what you're missing, pretty much. I hate Tucker. I do. I really hate Tucker now. I am surprised that he didn't sleep with her before. The beginning of the week started out with him explaining why he couldn't sleep with Sharon. He just doesn't want to get all mixed up. His private life becomes public, and he doesn't want her to get wrapped up in that. She has so much else to focus on. End of the week. ba-bam, he's nailing her. And the thing, it bugs me, obviously, because he, first of all, will sleep with pretty much anything. I cannot believe that he didn't just screw her at the beginning. I mean, why not? I think if it's a means to an end, he will do anything. But what really bothers me is the fact that he only slept with Sharon because she was starting to back down. She came into his office after the hearing and she said, I don't think I can do this. I don't think I can go to this mental ward. This is going to unearth a lot of really uncomfortable feelings for me. What happens if I crack? And Tucker, his solution is to have sex with her, because that's what makes Sharon feel good. That's what makes her feel good, is when she's being embraced by a man. It's true. And I think that that's the only reason he did it. And it really makes me sick. Like, every time Tucker was putting his hands on her, they went into his bedroom and he was just putting his hands on her. I want to scream out, stop touching her! Don't touch her, you scum, sleaze, bag, gross. I used to like Tucker, and within a matter of a month or two, I cannot stand him now. I don't want his slimy fingers on Sharon or anybody else. I hope that at the end of this, Tucker just goes away, just slithers off into the night from whence he came. He started trying to tell her this story about a friend of his that went into a mental institution and she came out stronger. Trying, you know, if the sex doesn't work, follow it up with a good story to try to give her some strength and try to pump her up so that she can stay at the head of Newman Enterprises so you can get what you want. And the whole time he's telling this story, it was almost played as if it was supposed to be a moment of us sympathizing with Tucker, as if we're supposed to go, oh, he kind of gets it, he is kind of being there for her. Well, maybe he's screwing her over a little bit, but he is kind of being there for her. No! I don't think so at all. I do not believe one single word that comes out of his mouth. I don't believe that story at all. I don't believe he has Sharon's best interests in mind one iota. I think he's using her pure and simple, not only mentally, not only for business, but now he's used her sexually. I don't know if I will ever recover on Tucker. I hate him. I hate him. And I just hope Sharon ends up having some kind of revelation in the loony bin. She decides to go check herself in willingly, and I hope that while she's there, she starts to really think about her life and the people in it and who has her best interest in mind and what she really wants out of life. I'm not saying that I want Sharon to go back to being a doormat, but I at least want her to, first of all, bring it back a few notches, and second of all, just start being your own woman. She needs some kind of motivation. She needs some kind of driving force. The character in general is just kind of lacking that right now. I hope that she realizes that this whole thing that's going on with Newman Enterprises really isn't in her best interest. She's not doing what's best for her. She's not doing what's best for her family, her kids right now. All she's doing is causing more drama. And there was this moment right before Sharon went away where she was with Faith at the coffee house and they were talking and being cute and kind of snuggling together. And that moment made me miss Sharon being a mom. I miss seeing her being a mom. She really hasn't been with Faith very much. For as much as Faith was this miracle baby, Cassie's promise to Nick and Sharon, Sharon doesn't seem to have spent that much time with her. It was last year that she allowed everyone to think she was dead. She stayed away from her children. Now that she's back, she's not focusing on them. Even when Noah was in town, she wasn't paying any attention to him. She's focused on this really misguided career attempt and ignoring her family. And I like I said, I don't want her to be wimpy, but I want there to be some softness in there. I miss seeing her be a mom. She owes that to her children and to Nick. That's what I'm hoping to see out of Sharon at the end of this. You know who else probably misses being a mom? Daisy. At the very tail end of Thursday's show, Sharon goes into a waiting room to check herself into the institution, and guess who is sitting there in a chair reading? Daisy. Shorter hair, little kinky, little curly. But Daisy's eyes light up right away when she sees Sharon, and she just says, "Sharon, it's me, Daisy. You recognize me?" Sharon kind of looks at her shocked. Daisy's supposed to be dead. Everybody knows Daisy's supposed to be dead. And then the most interesting thing, Daisy calls out, "Sharon, tell them who I am." So it seems to me that Daisy's being held against her will. Whatever happened between she and Ricky, or whatever way that Ricky got rid of her, it seems that one way or another she got shoved into an institution where she's not being identified, or nobody believes who she is, and sooner or later, hopefully, Sharon is going to be able to help crack that one wide open. And I don't know if it's a good or bad thing, but either way, she's going to be unleashing Daisy onto Genoa City once again. I think the reason I'm most excited about Daisy being back in Genoa City is because I feel like where Daisy is, Ricky's going to be. I feel like at the very least, she's going to be able to provide some more information about what happened to him. I will never believe he's dead until I see a body. And also, the thing that helps me keep thinking that is that Paul and Avery are, now that they've discovered there's a tape of Ricky murdering his girlfriend, now they're trying furiously to find the video. And they went through Ricky's belongings. There was a log that Avery was going through to see what the police recovered from Ricky's hotel room, and there's no laptop. The laptop is missing. He had a laptop that we saw the video on that I think he deleted the file from, but at the same time, there was still a laptop. It was in the room, I'm sure, when he died, so where's the laptop? Not only is the knife missing, but the laptop's missing too. It just makes me think somebody went in there. Somebody went in there, cleaned up the crime scene, and Daisy was missing before Ricky even before he even died. So she would have had to have been free to move the knife and or the laptop. And so then he somehow got her into a mental institution. I don't know. I'm not sure how the pieces fit together, but I am curious about it. And I want Paul to get the heck off of these charges. I want Paul to be a completely free man again, and if we can't have the laptop, doesn't matter because we've got that snow globe. The one thing Heather keeps from the box of Ricky's goods is that snow globe from Niagara Falls, which I'm pretty sure there's a memory card taped to the bottom or up in the base of that thing. What a coinkydink, you know? Heather got rid of everything that was Ricky's except the one piece of evidence they needed. Hooray! All it's gonna take is for Lucy to drop that snow globe while she's playing with it, or someone to drop it. Maybe Paul. Heather ended up giving it to Paul. Paul was very upset that she got rid of Ricky's things, so she gave him that snow globe. Maybe he'll drop it on his foot and it'll crack open and we'll see the memory card. Whatever it is, I hope it happens soon. In the meantime, though, I am still enjoying Heather and Daniel quite a bit. I really am. I think that Daniel needs a good, stable woman in his life, and it's certainly not his mother. And it's actually nice to see him bringing Lucy over to Heather's apartment and them sitting on the floor playing with her. It's frankly, it's just good to see Daniel acting like an adult, like a father. He should have been acting like this a long time ago, and I think Heather just helps add to that whole scene. She's helping me like Daniel more. I just really like the new Heather. She's got a real sensitivity about her. I think she's a very good actress, because even in the moment where Paul was revealing to her that Ricky had recorded the death of his girlfriend, or the murder of his girlfriend, Heather, you could see it in her eyes that she had this realization of how totally sick her brother was. I just thought it played really well on her face. I'm almost always watching her really closely. It took Y&R quite a while to get that casting choice right, but everybody I've talked to so far seems to really like the new Heather. I really like the new Heather. In fact, I think I'm in love with new Heather. Victor is making me so sad. Look in his eyes during those scenes. There's such an innocence there. If everything about Victor Newman has been wiped away with his amnesia, there's just this really kind of sweet guy there. And watching him be so confused, not knowing who he is, it's really hard. It's especially hard to, I mean, it's impossible, in fact, to be mad at him when he's acting all pathetic and lost, and he's talking with Sister Celeste and finally starting to open up to her. She's asking him if he's all right and asking him to answer that question honestly, and he responds to her that no, he's not all right. He feels lost. He feels like he doesn't know who he is. He wonders if there's someone out there somewhere who knows him and misses him and loves him, and does he have a family? And just this heartbreaking moment where he says to her, I feel like I am an orphan or something. And he's recessed now back to just before he became Victor Newman, and it's kind of, I don't know, it's making me have some sympathy for Victor. It's making me like him and feel good about him again. I want to feel good about Victor. He should be my favorite hero on the show, or a villain, or anything. I don't want him to be a villain. No, scratch that. Victor should be the hero of the show, and he hasn't been that for so many years, and so it's kind of nice to feel some vulnerability from him again. I'm liking it. But Genevieve, of course, is creeping around on the scene. She's discovered him, and she's being paid by Tucker to keep him, to babysit him, frankly, to keep him away from Genoa City and from figuring out who he is. But at the same time, he's also not a young guy. Victor has had a heart transplant. He's sickly. He's not taking his medication. And thankfully, Genevieve discovered that he needed that medication, and she worked out an arrangement to get him the meds he needed. I do have to say, I am liking Genevieve more this week. Something about her just stripping away, getting her out of Genoa City, getting her done with the Kane crap, or away from the Kane crap for a while, and the Samantha thing, and away from Tucker for a little bit. Just isolating Genevieve a little bit has made me like her more this week. There seems to be a sensitivity there. She's posing as a nurse. She's told Victor that that's why she recognizes that he needs meds, and she's practically hand-feeding the meds to him. So I have to appreciate Genevieve for helping keep Victor alive, because I certainly hate seeing him unhealthy. It's very difficult to watch. And at the same time, Billy shows up, and he's kind of slithering around the scene too. And I really kind of enjoyed the scene with Billy and Victor shooting around, just talking to each other, playing darts. It was cool to see. There's been so much animosity between those two for so long that I don't think we have ever seen Billy and Victor getting along together. And there was this scene this week where they're just playing darts and just being guys, and it kind of touched me a little bit. So Billy, though, is not just gonna forget. Just because Victor has forgotten doesn't mean Billy is going to. So Billy has to get back to Genoa City, back to his life and his wife. And so he pays Genevieve to keep an eye on Victor and to keep him in the loop about what's going on with his progress. I think he said, just keep him on ice for a while, which is funny. But there's also this element of Billy having blackmailed Genevieve into it. As soon as he walked into the bar before he revealed himself, he took some video with his cell phone of Genevieve helping Victor. He was slunched over with his heart condition and she had her arms on him, and Billy showed this video, and to someone who doesn't know what's going on, it kind of looks like they were canoodling together. So Billy blackmailed her a little bit, but I wonder if eventually someone is going to find that footage on his phone, like, oh, I don't know, Victoria? Billy needs to tell his wife that he found her father. He needs to confide in her. I would be seriously annoyed with Billy right now if Victor hadn't done the exact same thing, only worse to him, holding him hostage. That was terrible. So I'm willing to give Billy a little bit of slack here because of what Victor did to him. But at the same time, I want Billy to just tell Victoria. I want the Newmans to know that Victor's okay. I think that Victoria is probably like too pumped up about her new position at Newman Enterprises, being the head honcho, to even worry about her dad. That is one thing that really just gets me and ticks me off about this whole thing is, you know, the thing with the struggle at Newman is the kids seem to just assume that Victor's fine, while Nikki, who knows him better than anyone, doesn't assume that is fine and is worried. I don't know about you, but if my mom was worried about my dad, I would automatically be worried too. The kids just seem to be going on with their life, trying to keep the business running, and which I understand why they're doing what they're doing, but there seems to be a disconnect of worrying about their father. They don't seem to be that worried about Victor. Victoria is practically salivating at being the CEO of Newman Enterprises for like 48 hours because the judge named her CEO for 48 hours while Sharon's evaluation is going on, and she's acting like it's the best thing in her life. She's secretly just so happy about it, like it's a personal coup for her. Get over it, Victoria. I mean, being in charge of Newman Enterprises is more important to you than knowing if your father is alive or not? Jack is leveraged up to his eyeballs trying to get in on this Newman Enterprises deal. The stock has tanked, and he is leveraging both Beauty of Nature and Jabot to try to get money to buy more of this Newman stock. And he's got everything riding on the line. If things don't work out with Newman and the stock tanks or Newman goes under, Jack goes under too. He's going to lose everything. It's amazing the lengths that Jack will go to get back at Victor. The rivalry is embedded in his DNA at this point, I think. It's in him. It's sad to see because I'm worried that Jack is going to go down over this deal. At the same time, Victor foreshadowed it a couple of months ago, even saying that this is the nature of Jack's character. Jack's ambition has always been bigger than his wallet. It's always been a matter of Jack wanting to do more and not having the money to do it, and he certainly at this point can't say that he wasn't warned because Kane is right there with him trying to execute all of Jack's wishes, getting getting things in place, getting him the money to buy the stock, and he's warning him. Kane is saying, look, if you go down, you're gonna lose everything. And Jack is just ignoring it completely. He wants to move forward. And I'm sorry, so much of it, I'm sure, is due to the fact that Nikki ran off and left him just, days after they were married to go look for Victor. He doesn't have Nikki anymore. He never really did, but he's going to seize this opportunity to get Newman Enterprises. That'll really get up under Victor's skin. It's personal. Anybody who says that business is not personal is just making excuses, I think. But Jack is trying to let Nikki go. Well, this is going to be the shortest marriage in the world, or one of the shortest marriages on the show. Nikki tried to confront Jack again this week, or try to appeal to him and try to at least be friends with him, and Jack was not having any of it. After she left, he immediately called the lawyer and told him to get on the divorce. And I'm thinking, divorce? What are you talking about? How about an annulment? You've been married for hours. So that relationship is completely over before it began. And this week there was this moment where after Nikki she's broke, Jack is no longer an option. She cannot find Victor. She's exhausted her search for Victor. Bonnie has helped sneak her onto the ranch so she can look through things, trying to figure out if there are any clues as to where Victor might be. And there's this moment where Nikki steps outside at night, looks up into the stars, and says, "How many times have we counted these stars together, Victor? And I know that you're not dead, because I would feel it. I would feel that a piece of me would have died too." I'm sorry, you guys. Woo! I am so emotional at this. Like, she looks up into the stars and she just says, "Come home to me, Victor." And it is overlapped with a scene of Victor stepping outside I'm getting goosebumps thinking about it. Victor steps outside the bar, looks up at the same sky. And there's this moment where he's searching. He wonders who's out there looking for him, and she's wondering where in the world he is. And I cried. I totally cried at that scene, and I think it's mostly because the day that episode aired, the 5th, I guess, September 5th, maybe, or was the day, the 10-year anniversary of Victor and Nikki's last wedding. And I think that made it even worse, because Nikki and Victor have always just had this epic love story that's been sidetracked so unfairly, and it's hard to not be touched by that. I've lived through that with them, and it's hard. So I went back, of course, and I watched Nikki and Victor's second wedding, their last wedding, 10 years ago, almost to the day. And several tissues later, I started thinking about things 10 years ago. It was kind of hard not to. I'm watching their old wedding. I'm imagining where I was in 2002, sitting on my secondhand couch in my shoebox apartment, watching Nikki and Victor get remarried again, living through that with them. And I got to thinking about how it does feel to me like Y&R is kind of in a dark place lately. It feels like things have gotten off track, and Nikki and Victor's relationship is the perfect and ultimate example of that. They should have stayed together. They should have challenges, but they should have ultimately come and worked it out. And I'm so disappointed that we've got so far off track. And it really got me thinking too about, like, do you remember in Dallas when they killed off Bobby's character? And the fans were so upset about it. And I think at the beginning of the next season, or maybe the end of one of the other seasons, they revealed Bobby was still alive, and basically the whole previous season had been a dream. Well, I think that ticked off a lot of fans at that point. But to me, I kind of thought, you know, with the new writers coming in, hopefully we'll be seeing kind of new shows within the next couple of weeks. I thought, I have to be honest with you, if the last 10 years of Y&R got wiped out, I think that would be kind of spectacular. Y&R and soaps in general need some kind of boom. They need some kind of bang. And to me, I think that would be interesting. I know you guys will probably not agree with me, but if the last 10 years in Y&R had been wiped out, here's where we would be. First of all, Cassie would still be alive. And I really feel, it's funny that this was brought up this week at Sharon's trial, or hearing, But I really feel like that was the turning point in Y&R. So many storylines spiderwebbed outside of that one. Everything changed when Cassie died. The show was really never the same. It was such a, and that was almost like the beginning of kind of a dark period. I hate to say that, but it's true. And I just wonder what would have happened if we, like, wouldn't it be magical if we just all of a sudden, in a couple of weeks, the first, like, Monday show, it shows Cassie waking up in bed and going downstairs, and Nick and Sharon are sitting on the couch together having coffee. How interesting would that be? I know I'm probably alone in this feeling, but if Cassie never would have died, Nick and Sharon possibly would have stayed together. And it's hard not to think about that. I'm looking at Nikki and Victor's wedding in 2002. Sharon was in the wedding, and Nick was standing next to Victor, you know, as his best man. And I think there was some problems in Nick and Sharon's marriage. There was always problems in Nick and Sharon's marriage. I'm not some kind of blind love fool. Sharon was cheating on him. He was cheating on her with Grace. I mean, there was affairs in there, but at the end of the day, they always worked it out. And so it was Cassie that ultimately tore them. Cassie's death that ultimately tore them completely apart. And you know, I'm looking back at the wedding tape from 2002, and Phyllis and Jack are sitting there in the pew together watching the wedding. And I have to be honest with you, I mean, in my heart, I've always really liked Phyllis and Jack together, and I was very unhappy when Phyllis left Jack. I always thought they were a good couple. I thought Phyllis was the kind of person that really helped Jack be honest, really helped call him out on his bull, and Jack did the same thing for Phyllis. She wasn't always scrambling when she was with Jack. I mean, she was always had her drama, but it wasn't a constant struggle to hang on to the relationship. They had other issues with conception and kids and whatnot, but in my heart, I kind of think, again, I'm probably alone in this, but I think ultimately, if in a Y&R perfect universe, I think it's Nick and Sharon together, Phyllis and Jack together. To me, that just makes sense. It always did. And then it got all mixed up, and Sharon married Jack, Nick married Phyllis, and back again. And I'm not saying I don't like Nick and Phyllis together. I mean, right now I'm not feeling it, but I mean, I think they've had a really good, interesting relationship, but ultimately I just think that that was it made sense, that pairing of the couples. And I love stories, but I almost wish that they just leave some couples together. Not every storyline has to be about a couple breaking up and lies and cheating on each other. There's other ways to pursue storylines and still tell love stories and still challenge love stories without them being ultimate breakups. So, I mean, Nikki and Victor's ultimate breakup, Sharon and Nick, those are just really good examples of that. But anyway, back to my 10-year idea. I just think it was interesting. 10 years ago, Paul was at the Nikki and Victor's wedding with Isabella, who looked beautiful, by the way. She was in this really great dress. And Michael was there with Christine. Michael was totally in love with Christine and trying to, in fact, bringing Isabella into Paul's life to try to break Paul and Christine up. And Michael was a totally different guy. And like, there were so many other little characters, even like Miguel. I don't remember what happened to Miguel. I think he just decided to leave the ranch or something, but Miguel was always there. He was somebody that you kept around in the background, and I enjoyed seeing him. Or remember Douglas, Victor's friend? There was a lot of background characters that got scrapped, but those are little things that make you feel like, this is a stable show. I can get comfortable. Miguel's always there. It's cool. Miguel's serving dinner tonight. But I miss that, and I miss back the days when, you know, Neil was with Drew. They had a great love story 10 years ago. Drew was still on the scene, and she may be coming back on the scene from what I'm hearing. I don't know, but I guess I just long for those days. Maybe it's me, and I'm just, you know, feeling sentimental or reminiscing or something. But I mean, if we woke up on Monday and Y&R backed up to 10 years ago, I'm gonna be honest, I would be like, yeah, I'd be turning on the camera immediately, and I'd be vlogging about it, and I'd be, woo, I'd be pumped up. It just seems like that would be such a shocking twist. And, I don't know, I would like it. But one couple final notes on Nikki and Victor's wedding. You guys should go and watch the video on YouTube. Just type it in, Victor and Nikki's September 5th, 2002 wedding. I'm sure that it'll be posted there. It was really something to watch, and I saw the moment where they're saying their vows to each other. Nikki is telling Victor that she loves him and that she will stay with him. She vows to stay with him in the sunshine and the rain, you know, for better or for worse. And Nikki kept those vows. She did. She never, as much as they've had problems, Nikki never stopped loving Victor, and she really never left him. It's Victor that has had trouble keeping his vows. Victor is the one that pushes her away and refuses to listen to her and incorporate her and see her as a partner and an equal. He always just, it's like he emotionally abuses Nikki. I hate to say it that way, but Victor vowed to love her and to protect her. Has he done that? No, and that's why the relationship didn't last, and I'm so sad going back and watching that moment, and those just classic soap opera moments. They kiss, and white rose petals just all fall down on them, and I miss that. I really miss these epic love stories in that sense that it all is right. They were apart for a while, but they came back together, and there is this part of me that is a forever sucker for Nikki and Victor, and I hate myself for it because they've been through too much, and I get mad with them along the way, but at the same time, I always end up coming back. I don't know if I will ever give up hope for Nikki and Victor. It's so bad. I wish, you know, maybe we're not gonna wake up on Monday and Cassie's still alive and it's 10 years earlier. Maybe we can't go back in time, but YNR, I have to just plead with you on this one. If you do one thing, bring Nikki and Victor back together. Let them be a happy, stable couple. Just after all of the crap that we've been through, definitely within the last year or two, and frankly within the last 10, I need you, YNR, to just make this right. Why, YNR, can't you please just make this one thing right? Okay, you guys, that takes me to the end of Allie's impassioned speech on Nikki and Victor. I always accept the possibility that I'm probably alone on these things, but I gotta get my feelings out, and now it's your turn to get your feelings out. So please, feel free to leave me a comment. There's a box below. You can leave me a text comment, and I will totally be reading and responding and loving you guys so much. It's been a short week. What was it, only 3 episodes? Is that right? 3 episodes this week? Yeah, but still, things happening. There's things to say, so feel free to give it to me. I'm looking forward to hearing what you have to say. Okay, that is gonna do it for me for this week. I'll be back next Sunday, to chat with you again about the show, and I'm really, really looking forward to seeing where we will be by then. Okay, guys. Love ya. Bye.